Well, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. For those of you in the community who are all about the multiplayer part of a massively multiplayer online game, I'm sure that this sounds great to you, but for somebody like me who has no interest in having to schedule my life around other people's schedules and just wants to play the game because I want to play the game, yet another feature that we're getting that does zero for what I'm interested in. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. The description that Elite has released for this particular feature that they're adding is that you're supposed to team up with a bunch of people and go and do new content and stuff. And it's like, great, okay. You know, for the people for whom are wanting to be in a squadron and are wanting to team up with people and are wanting to have that multiplayer experience, great. Good for you guys. But for those of us who actually want to have like actual gameplay that we can just play when we feel like it, this does zero for us. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, it's disheartening for me because they're constantly choosing things that are pushing their desire to get people to play with each other. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of people out there who don't want to have to, like, I don't want my time to have to be spent figuring out who I'm going to play with. I just want to get on, play the game, enjoy the game, and then be done. And I'm sorry, it's just super frustrating for me. It's super, super, super frustrating because I would love for there to be new content that actually adds content that I can just play by myself, that I can sit down and do recordings of without having, like for me as a content creator, what am I going to do? Like I have to now I have to try to figure out corralling some people to come and play with me and then I can make content on it. Like, or is there going to be AI people that I now have to like manage to go in and do this? Like, I don't want to have to do all that. That's not what I'm interested in. I have zero interest in having to do teamwork. That's not what I'm interested in the slightest. I'm just not, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that for those of you for whom this sounds like a really interesting thing, you don't want to hear any negativity about it, but I'm sorry. This is yet another thing that is being worked on that the developers have decided they want the player interaction thing to become more important, and I'm sorry. I have zero interest in that, and there's a lot of people who have zero interest in that. We want to get in, we want to fly our spaceships, we want to do some things that are fun to do for us by ourselves, and then we want to log off and go on about our day. I don't want to have to coordinate my time around other people's schedules. That's super frustrating, and I don't want to do it. So that's the one thing. The other thing is this whole Caspian Explorer thing. And I have to say that my opinion here is going to sound weird when it comes to this. First and foremost, as somebody who is a massive Star Trek fan, massive, as in I've seen every single episode that there is of Star Trek before the New Age stuff, with the exception of the original animated series. I've seen every episode of the original series, every episode of Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise. I have seen every single episode and movie that there is available. And I saw the new reboot movies, but I didn't see anything else after that because I just didn't have any interest. As somebody who is a massive, massive fan of Star Trek, I have to tell you that I'm pretty disappointed with their choice here. Why? Because I want Star Trek to be Star Trek, and I want Elite Dangerous to be Elite Dangerous. There's an aesthetic in Elite Dangerous that differentiates it from anything else, and they're really starting to move away from that. And I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it if they weren't just blatantly ripping off other properties. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just I don't know. I don't know, man. I like that it's a large exploration ship. I like the idea of what they're trying to do to make it something that's really great for deep space, going off and doing stuff. I'm looking forward to more information. I like the idea of the ship as a concept as far as its capabilities. But I don't want a Star Trek ship in an Elite Dangerous game. I'm just... You see, and this is why a lot of people don't like me, because I have very strong opinions about how things should be. and I'm just not willing to just say what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think. And what I think is that this would be a really cool large ship if it didn't look like a Star Trek ship. That's just how I feel about it. I love Star Trek, don't get me wrong. But I don't want to play Star Trek and Elite Dangerous. I want Elite Dangerous to be Elite Dangerous, and I want Star Trek to be Star Trek, and the two worlds don't need to mix and match and do any of that kind of stuff. It bugs me that they're doing this. It's I don't know. It just bugs me. As soon as I saw the concept drawing for the ship, I was just like, seriously, you guys are so creatively bankrupt. You couldn't come up with your own really cool large exploration ship design. And this is what I've been talking about ever since they started doing all of this new content stuff. It's like they've had one or two new designs that are actually completely original, and everything else has been like reuse of previous stuff that they've kind of half-assed janked together to make it seem like it's new. And I don't know. It's hard to get excited for this stuff. It's hard to get excited for this stuff. I would love to have completely brand new ships that, A, were balanced with all of the old ships so that all the old ships still have a place in the world, but I've gone on about that enough. But are designed in a way that are visually appealing but still remain Elite Dangerous. I would love that. And I would also love it if we could get new features that are coming into the game that aren't centered around trying to force feed multiplayer interactions with the player base, because there's a lot of people that don't want to do that. And you're pushing us away by trying to force us into this vision that you have, and it's really starting to piss some of us off. Like, I try to be as professional as I can be when I get on camera, but I'm just like, I'm getting to the point where we're getting to the straw that broke the camel's back, and I'm getting kind of disgusted with the direction that they're going, because I would have been excited if we had gotten maybe atmospheres for planets, or if we had gotten an upgrade to exobiology, or if the bounty hunting system had been upgraded, like I've been talking about in a bunch of episodes. I would be excited if the bounty hunting system got upgraded in some kind of a major way, so that if I want to do bounty hunting related stuff, I have a lot more options and a lot more convoluted options to go in there and do this stuff. I'm not interested in having to team up with other players or have to go hire a team of AI assistants to go and raid some bullshit property that probably took very minimal effort to design. They're just... And the reason I said I told you so at the beginning is that this is yet another example of... They're promising you things that sound really cool, and then when you get in there, it's just going to be a few new zones that they put together with one or two new things that you get to do when you go in there to do it, and it's just going to be the same endless cycle of repeating the same content over and over again. This information just does not entice me in the slightest. So for those of you who have been waiting for me, like those one or two of you maybe who have been waiting for me to make a decision as to what I'm going to do in the game, we're probably going back out into the black at this point. Now, I want to wait a little bit longer because I want to see what this Caspian ship, it's going to be another one of those things where it's like, it's going to be like the Mandalay where the appearance of the ship is really going to turn me off because I don't like the direction that they chose. But if the abilities are... If I can get a large, well, I guess there's one thing that they need to, well, I don't know. Here's what I would like to see. Here's what I would like to see. They're not going to do it, but here's what I would like to see. I would like to see a deep space long range, or deep space long range. I would like to see a long range mini fleet carrier kind of situation. Not where you can bring other big ships with you, but just something where maybe you could take a small ship or make fighters landable and make the big ship big. The big ship pretty much never lands, right? Like it's such a chunky ship that it can't really land anywhere, and you deploy your fighter, the fighter goes down and you land, and maybe even if it's just like a couple of the small ships can fit into it. Like one of the small ships can fit into its bay, like a shuttlecraft going down, and the shuttle can carry your SRV. That your main ship stays either flying up or it stays in orbit, and then you come down or whatever. I don't care. I would like something like that. I think that would be really cool. I don't want to fly a big ship around trying to maneuver close to the ground and doing all of that stuff. So it's just, we're going to have to wait until we find out a little bit more about this new ship that they're putting out. You know, it sounds like it's going to be, capable, I guess. I don't know. Until we see how it maneuvers, until we see the jump ranges, until we see what other potential capabilities it might have on top of what something like the Mandalay might offer. I don't know. We'll see. But it's just, I told you so. I told you what they were going to do before they did it, and they did it. They're offering yet another feature that only is applicable to one part of the community. They're not adding anything that everybody with all of our different interests can participate in. New atmospheres would at least make it so that those of us who want to do exploring can go do exploring stuff, and we have atmospheres on our planets. Or it will make it so that people who want to do combat will have much nicer environments to go in and do their combat stuff. It'll make it so that people who want to do base building and things like that have a really nice atmosphere and flora and fauna and all that other stuff to do their, you know, building of their stuff. They're not focusing on things that are applicable to everybody. They're doing these very limited niche things that only apply to very specific people who are interested in very specific things. And if you happen to be in that group, that's great for you. But for the rest of us who want to do other things that aren't that, they're not even trying to branch out into anything else other than these easy, low-hanging fruit things that, you know, they can put a little bit of effort in, and that's it. And it's just frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. Because I love the game. I love the idea of the game. And I love the aesthetic of the game. And I love flying the ships around. Like the ship flight, like flying the ships and operating the ships and all of that stuff is fun. It's enjoyable. I love flying the ships around. But that can only take you so far. And at some point, they got to do something to make the game itself fun. Right? Like, you can say all you want, oh, well, it's a space simulator. It's not a... No, it's a fucking game, dude. It's a game. It has elements in it that need to keep you interested. And if it's not keeping you interested, then it's not worth your time. Right? And, you know, I don't know. There's nothing that any of us says are going to change the developer's pathway forward. Because it's clear now, like, there was some hope. There was a tiny little bit of hope before this announcement that maybe they were going to finally start doing something substantial to the game, but it's clear from this that they're not. They have no interest in actually doing something substantially meaningful that dramatically changes the gameplay. They're giving you this optional thing that's much more like going on a raid in World of Warcraft than it is a fundamental shift in the gameplay of the game. And I'm tired of these. I don't know. I'm not going to stop playing because, you know, A, I make content on this game, and B, I still enjoy the ships. I enjoy the ships in this spaceship game, and that's why I keep coming back. But when I see things like this, I can't help but just be heartbroken over it, because it's just like, can you guys like do some spaceship shit? You know, I mean, these half-assed designs that you put together is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, coming up with brand new and revamping systems to make the interactions that we're using with the already awesome ships that we had, and just making that something where our interface with the game is way better. Not just giving us shiny new toys to play with to do the same old shit. I'm saying new shit to do with the stuff we already had. I would much rather have that than what we're getting now. And when you... I understand that this new feature that they're coming out is a new thing you can do. Sure, yeah, kinda. It barely crosses the mark of that. But then you're also adding the bullshit requirement that you can't just go in and do it by yourself. No, you're expected to go in with a team of people and do it. And like, I'm not fucking interested in that. So, I don't know, man. I wanted to be excited, but in my heart of hearts and in the back of my head, I knew that this kind of shit is exactly what it was going to be. I knew it. And now I don't really feel like waiting around for that anymore, because I have no interest in being expected to have to either corral up a bunch of people or manage a fucking AI team to go in and assault this or do that. It's like, I don't want to do that. I have zero interest in that. I want to play the game by myself on my own time when I'm ready to do it. And that's what I want to do. And that's what a lot of people want to do. And it is what it is. So I don't know that we're necessarily going to go out into the black yet. I want to find out more about this new ship because, yeah, it looks ridiculous compared to what Elite Dangerous ships are supposed to look like. But if the capabilities look like they're worth our time to maybe make a big trip out of just taking this ship, like, we'll just leave the carrier behind. If we can get some really cool features out of this ship that make it interesting enough that just taking the ship will be fun, we'll do that, because then I don't have to worry about mining, and I don't have to worry about carrier maintenance and all that crap. We just take our ship and go. But if we're basically just taking a better version of the Anaconda, of the Jumpaconda, out into the black, and it's hard to fly and it's uncomfortable and you feel like you're lugging it around, and you know, if that's the way it ends up being, then we're just gonna, I don't know what we'll do. We'll figure out something. But it looks like now that we are almost certainly going back out into the black, because this new feature offers nothing for me and nothing for anybody who's interested in the kind of content that I make. So I called it, but yeah, it is what it is. So thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Let me know what you think the new exploration ship is going to have as part of its thing in the comments down below. If you'd like to contribute to the channel, I have PayPal and Patreon links in the description, as well as that thanks button just below the video itself. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.